The following segments are pre-recorded and sponsored by Longworth Productions.
Major funding for Triad today comes from Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, making healthcare better for all. Community engagement on Triad today. Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to a very special edition of Triad Today, coming to you from the Kernersville Auto Museum, as always. I call it special because over the next half hour we're going to focus on some very important themes of community engagement, being empowered in your community and involved, and we do that with a very special person who you see every week on Triad Today, my good buddy Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants. Good to see you again, sir.
I'm glad to be here.
All right, as we talk about this, let's do a definition first. In your mind, what do you mean when you talk to me about community empowerment? What do you mean by empowerment?
Well, I think that many times the community doesn't know how powerful they are, how powerful their voice are. And we see all of the issues that's going on around the country, and we see all the issues that go on in our local communities, but many times they don't feel like they have a voice. But they do have a voice, and getting them to understand what's going on in their community, empowering them to take control of their community and speak out, participate in the political process, and be a part of getting their voice out there is key. And that's what I talk about when I talk about community empowerment.
Yeah, I know you've helped a lot of communities with voter registration drives and things like that. Let's talk about community engagement specifically. Getting people involved, because as you said, if they learn that they have the power to be involved, but getting involved, why is that important?
Well, I think the show that we're going to have today will show people that are people in the community. A lot of times when you see someone on television, they have a big title or they're an important politician. But the people who make the community go are the people who are in those communities every day, working with young people, working with our seniors, delivering grocery, making sure power bills are cut in half, working with our youth, mentoring. Those are the people that get engaged, and that's why we need people, organizations, and various groups to get engaged in our community and empower our community.
Well, as you said, we have several great role models in that, and I'm going to get you to say a brief thing about each one as sort of an introduction, because we're going to see them in a minute or two. So I'll throw out some names here. Coming up, we're going to see Yvette Jones.
Well, Yvette is such an amazing person, someone who I've known for a long time, who worked with me at the Urban League. I call her my boss at the Urban League, and she's now with Power Up, helping people in the conservation component. And I think she's just an amazing person, and her organization really is serving our community.
Right. Antonio Stevenson, the folks will see later on in the program too.
He's the definition of someone who doesn't just talk it, he walks it. He goes into communities that are neighborhoods that people feel like are neighborhoods, tough neighborhoods. He talks to the young people no matter what they're involved in. He engages and shows them that if I can do it, you can do it. And he's successful in every right because he's going into these communities. He's working with organizations.
He's been there.
And he's been there.
Yeah.
So absolutely, he is such a role model for our young people.
Yeah, he's the real deal, and you'll see him. Deal. We'll have him in the final block of the program, so we'll watch for that. And then also coming up, our good buddy Wendy Poteet is participating in this special program.
Well, Wendy has taken an organization that probably was at a low and took it here.
Right.
And it's also about providing a platform for young people, giving them a roadmap to success. And we need people like that. That's why her organizations are so important. And you know, me and you talk about Wendy because she's been also on the round table, but she's a visionary because she knows how to connect with the young people, but she also works with various organizations to raise funds because we know young people that come from communities that don't have all of the necessary tools of success. She's providing that for them.
And you cannot
put a price tag on that.
No, and she'll be here in just a second. All right, Keith and I'll be back in just a moment, but I want to put up on screen groundgameinnovation.com. Again, a shout out to them, which we will continue to do throughout the program. Great organization. Check out groundgameinnovation.com. Keith and I'll be back to continue our discussion, and then we'll meet our special guest. We'll be right back.
I am so
Why
frustrated.
can no one help us?
Waiting
This
is
is a nightmare.
work. I think it's healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all. Starting with you. Yes, you, Daryl. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting your benefits, prescriptions, and details all in one place. Convinced?
No. But it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina. Making healthcare better for all. Starting with you.
The world's brightest are Fulbrights, Goldwaters, McNairs, and Spartans. UNCG, find your way here.
Back now on this special edition of Triad Today, brought to you by the good folks at Ground Game Innovation, who do such a fine job in helping people stay engaged and involved. And of course, my good buddy Keith Granberry is back with us here and will be with us throughout the entire program. And Keith has been quite an advocate for being engaged in the community and staying involved. And that goes way back throughout his career as he was president of the Winston-Salem Urban League, where we first met, doing great things. I brag on him a lot because of the programs, especially he did with at-risk youth and with seniors, helping to put people back in school and back in the workforce. So let's just sort of continue our conversation, Keith, from the first block. It's fine for you and I to talk about things they could do or maybe should do, but what about people who say, well, wait a minute, Keith, there are a lot of barriers that I have in my life. How do I get past them, and what kind of barriers?
Well, you know, it's tough in society right now. Let's be frank. There's a lot of different barriers when it comes to the economy, jobs. But one of the things that I think is important that people need to understand is you may have a barrier when it comes to your job. You may have a barrier in terms of transportation, a variety of things that people feel like that, you know, someone says, well, I got in trouble before, so how can I volunteer? You know, all of those things are valid issues, but there's something for everyone in the community, right? There are mentors that you can talk to via phone. There are programs you can get involved in where you go sit with seniors and spend time with them. There's the food bank where you can go deliver food to people who, you know, right now many of the programs are being eliminated. There's so many things that we can do as citizens, so many different programs out there. But the main thing is educating people on what those programs are, going into the churches, going into there and allowing people like Reverend Mack to talk about the programs, to talk about the various things that are going on in our community, and really get people to get engaged. This year is going to be very important in terms of community engagement and also political engagement, focusing on really understanding your power and how you can have a say in what's going on in our community.
Yeah, because a lot of people say, look, Keith, you can talk about this all you want to, but I'm just one person, you know, what can I do?
One person makes a difference. One vote makes a difference. You know, one person changed my life when I was young by spending time with me. As you know, Bob Brown was one person, but he affected many people.
That's right.
By his life. So it's one person can really make a difference. And I think that people need to understand, no matter where you come from or where you are in life, you can really change the life of other people.
And not to harp on politics too much, but there is a primary election coming up on March the 3rd. And even if you see this program afterwards, the point I want to make is that it doesn't matter how you vote or who you vote for, but it's important to make sure you're registered, to get involved. And I've also heard people say, boy, if I were an elected official, well, you know, get out and run.
That's right. You know, I mean, there's so many people that have been come from one profession and said, you know what, I want to make a difference. They
Yeah.
run.
We're not talking about United States senator or a
Yeah.
governor. It could be
It could be a state. It could be a state senator. It can be a state rep.
School
it
board.
could be a school board.
Right.
City council. Make a difference, but you don't have to run to make a difference. You can get engaged to make a difference. You can find out what's going on in your community. You can be part of a neighborhood watch committee for your. There's a variety of things that you can do so that you can make this community a better place and stay and get engaged.
right, and get your information firsthand and get it from legitimate sources. And a lot of this social media stuff. There's fake news, to borrow a phrase from our president. But he has his own definition of it. What I'm talking about is check out things and check out the sources and talk to people on the ground. And like you said, Keith said, there's so many things that we can all do. I used to deliver Meals on Wheels when I was a kid, and so there's always something we can do to get involved in the community and being aware of what's going on. Keith and I are going to continue with the program as we meet our special guests, and I hope you will stay tuned because they have some great stories to tell. Up on screen, groundgameinnovation.com. Please check out the website, and we will be right back. Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you that Triad Today also airs on GTN Spectrum Channel 13 and streams on WFMY Plus, free on Roku and Amazon Fire. Back now on this special edition of Triad Today, as we talk about ways that people can get engaged and stay engaged in their community and their surroundings and be more aware of things. And our co-host and my good friend Keith Granberry and I, and Keith has invited on a friend I haven't talked to in years, and we're so glad to have her here. Yvette Jones is Regional Field Director for something called the North Carolina League of Conservation Voters Foundation. I'd like to spend a little while just because I had, no offense, I had not heard of this. So let's just spend a little bit of time and you tell me what that foundation and that organization is all about. What's the mission?
Okay. Well, we are Power Up, a part of the North Carolina League of Conservation Voters Foundation,
Okay.
nonprofit organization. We're a group of statewide community organizers who work with community leaders, volunteers, and members on environmental issues.
Okay,
that
so
matter
that's
to
the
them.
specialty of this, right? You know, I know Keith wants to ask you some personal things first, but I'm curious about the foundation. You talk a lot about in some literature that you put out about that the world economy is based on extraction. That's a little over my head. Now, what do you mean the world economy is based on extraction?
Well, in community, when we talk to community members, we want to inform and educate them on environmental issues. And fossil fuels, the extraction of fossil fuels, is hurting our planet. So one of the things that we want to do is let people understand, help people to understand that there are better ways to fuel the world,
Right,
and
right.
U.S. and North Carolina. So, and that is through clean energy. We do not have to extract from the earth,
Right.
to achieve this.
Now, I know Keith, you and Keith have known each other for what, 30 years or something like that? Worked together in the
time.
Urban League, right?
A long time.
Yeah. So, y'all, I'm going to sit back for just a second. Y'all talk about, Yvette and her background and how y'all know each other and brought us to this point where she's been an advocate for the environment. Go ahead.
Okay, well, Yvette was my boss at the Urban League. I was the president, but she was the boss at the Urban League.
That's right.
And she was with me since, 2006, I think it was 2007. And so I've known Yvette for a long time. But I want to have her talk about Power Up and what you guys are doing for the community and why it's so important for people, especially the senior people, because we had a senior program. We actually had the largest senior program in the country at a time for its employment. And what are you guys doing in Power Up that really helps the community right now?
Yeah. So there are different things that we do. We work with all ages, from young all the way up to our oldest volunteer is 90. Okay. And so we've worked on issues as simple as community cleanup. We've created gardens in community. And one started a garden with a elementary school, and that program is still going on. We also work in community on traffic calming issues. That was a big thing. People were speeding in the community. We care about the safety, and not to mention the exhaust, right, that comes from the cars, the vehicles that go through there. So that has been very important. But as we talk to people in community, we have heard a constant concern, and that is the increasing energy bills. So the rates are just continue to go up, right? And so we ask community, tell your story, share your story, contact your government, and have them lean on corporate and the greed, right? And ask and advocate for cheaper, renewable energy solutions.
Well, I think what you're doing is great. I want to put up a couple things on screen here. One is to nclcvf.org, nclcvf.org, which is that general website on the foundation. People can learn more. They can go to different portals and learn about that and how to get involved and really piggyback on what Yvette was talking about. And also a shout out to the good folks at Ground Game Innovation. You can go to groundgameinnovation.com, check out their mission and what they're up to. And Yvette, it was easy and also hard to do this segment for me because you and Keith and I have known each other for a long time, and so we had to sort of pretend to the audience that we just met, but we didn't. But I appreciate all you're doing for making people aware of the environment and
Please
everything.
get involved.
Thank
Please
you.
get involved.
Absolutely.
That's the main thing.
Absolutely.
Get involved.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll be right back after this.
I got free meals. What do you mean? No, seriously, how much did you pay us? I didn't pay anything. I learned how to cook all of these fresh foods that were delivered to my house. Everything in that grocery bag that's fresh, I had a recipe for, and I know how to cook. It encouraged us to eat better, to shop better, make better decisions.
Back now on this special edition of Triad Today, as we focus on community empowerment and community engagement. Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultant, our good friend and co-host, we welcome in a special guest. And that's, of course, someone you've seen on the show many times before. Wendy Poteet is President and CEO of Shift Ed. Good to see you again, my friend.
Good to be here.
Keith, I'll defer to you in just a second. But Wendy, before we get going here, just remind people what the mission of Shift Ed is.
Will do. So it's very simple, to boldly accelerate student potential and give them access and exposure to all of the things that await them in this world.
All right.
Well, Wendy, I know a lot about you, but tell the viewers about you and how you got started and how you got on this career path.
How I got started is over half century ago now, right?
You're only a day over 20.
Thank you.
That's right.
No, I grew up in Caswell County, very rural county, right here in North Carolina. I came to Greensboro, city of Greensboro, to go to college. I started at A&T. I finished my degree years later than I was supposed to as an adult learner at Guilford College. Go Quakers. But at Guilford College, I studied justice and policy studies. So coming out of college, I worked at Chambers of Commerce. So trade organizations looking at politics and being a lobbyist for Chambers of Commerce in Greensboro and Winston-Salem for many years. But my passion was always around education. And with the changing dynamics of politics around 2015-16, I decided it was time for me to do something that was less political and get into the field of education. Surprise, surprise. It's
it became political,
very political.
What, people have heard about Shift Ed initially, they said, oh yeah, that's the organization that does a great job with high school kids, getting them scholarships into college. But you really start way earlier.
We start way earlier. We are a member of the Strive Together organization. It's a national organization. We are designated as cradle to career. So we start working with children in Guilford County schools before they even get there, so pre-K. And that transition from pre-K into kindergarten, making sure they are prepared to begin learning on that very first day of elementary school.
Right. So how does Shift Ed empower students? I know that we need programs like this, and this is so important, but how does it empower its students?
I can walk you through a number of different things that we do. So the transition into kindergarten is really about those materials and tools they need over the summertime to have them prepared when they walk into the classroom in kindergarten. In middle school, we move into starting to think about career and technical education. What does a career pathway actually look like, and not waiting until they are seniors in high school to figure that out. So doing aptitude assessments that align their actual brain capacity and what they're innately good at with the workforce pathways of our community and the state of North Carolina, really. And to then think about, what is that career development plan? How do you know if you want to be an aerospace engineer or if you want to work in health sciences? That aptitude assessment leads them and guides them in a way to help them understand that. And then the post-secondary side of our work, we work with our high school kids to make sure that they figure out, is it 4-year college? Is it 2-year? Is it credentials? Is it military? What is the pathway for them to make sure that they are moving toward a high wage earning career and successful in life?
And that's empowerment. But you also, with the older kids, talk to them about community engagement, right?
Absolutely, because an engaged community member is what we are trying to build. We believe that working with our students, we are building the next pipeline for people that will work in this community. It's all about paying it forward and really understanding that this work is not just about right now, but it's about the future, and the future of these kids that are starting kindergarten this year in 2026, and what does life look like for them in 2040.
Right.
Well, I know I'm getting ready to be principal for a day in March.
Absolutely. You're signing up today.
I'm signing up. But how can people get involved with your organization?
You can go directly to our website. There are events on the calendars page. The next thing we have coming up is Principal for a Day. And if you want to talk about what our school district needs and what our children and our families need, the best way is to walk the halls with a principal of Guilford County Schools and really learn what's going on inside the school buildings, and then join us after that for lunch as we talk about the Guilford Guarantee and what does it look like.
I want to be there when you're the principal. That's right.
I'm going to be a great principal.
Yeah, up on screen, shifted.org. Shifted.org. Please check that out. Please do that. And also a shout out to groundgameinnovation.com, as they are helping to put this program on for you today, and we're so appreciative of that. Wendy Poteet, thanks for all you do.
Thanks for having me here, Jim.
All right, we'll be right back.
At Sutton Brothers, we're confident we can help you solve your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs.
So confident that we'll fix it or it's free. Our highly trained technicians will diagnose your problem and fix it with either a repair or replacement.
And if we can't fix it, you won't pay the trip fee.
So the next time you have a problem, call us.
We'll make sure you're completely satisfied.
Guaranteed.
Call Sutton Brothers today and be confident things will be done right. Schedule online at suttonbros.com.
Major funding for Triad today comes from Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, making healthcare better for all. The Roundtable is brought to you by Sutton Brothers, locally owned and operated and serving all of your HVAC, plumbing, and electrical needs. Back now in this special edition of Triad today, brought to you by the good folks at Ground Game Innovation, and we talk about community empowerment and community engagement, being involved in the community. I don't know of anybody more involved than the gentleman that Keith and I are welcoming right now. Keith Granberry and I welcome Antonio Stevenson, president of My Brother's Second Chance. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Antonio, very briefly, before you and Keith get started, what's the mission of the organization?
We're just trying to better the lives of those we come in contact with. Most of our kids are young and gang involved and coming from inner city, and we just try to make sure they're better after they leave us than they were when they got here.
Got you.
Well, you know me and your fraternity brothers and brothers in real life, but tell the viewers about your journey and what made you start My Brother's Second Chance.
My Brother's Second Chance is over 20 years old. When I started the program, I just decided to get my life on track. I've been through some rough times, been shot, stabbed up, and I started seeing more youth like myself. And I wanted to stand in the gap. A lot of my problems came from not having proper guidance, not having a father, and when I needed them most. And when I met my young guys and started seeing kids, majority of them didn't have fathers. And hardly any of them had good fathers and good male role models. So I wanted to be that and do that.
So how do you empower them once you get a hold of them?
I make sure that I set my goals and I set their goals straight. You can no longer smoke weed if you're in my program. You can no longer get in trouble, get back and forth, sent to the principal's office. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Right.
So we're present in school, in the home, and they spend time with us. They know what a good young man looks like. So we hammer it home.
Yeah, and you have great success, Keith.
Well, talk about the mentoring component of it, Antonio. I mean, you helped me at the Urban League when we're doing mentoring programs, and I've been involved in the other mentoring programs. But talk about why mentoring is so important with your group and how people can get involved in the mentoring component.
I think a lot of people talk a great game, but when the time comes to show up in school where they're having difficulties, at home where they're having difficulties, my brother Second Chance is present. We show up in school and at home. How to get involved is put some time in. We're looking for mentors. We don't always ask for money. We ask for time. And
but you take both.
We will.
Volunteers and mentors.
They can donate through the website.
But I would think that I know you're a great role model to the kids. Does that sort of encourage them to become involved in their community later on?
Absolutely. So we pick up trash on the side of the highway. We go and read books to the young people in preschool. We don't just accept this help and then keep moving. We have 20 guys working jobs, full-time jobs, but we still have 11 young people still in school. So those 20 plus guys that are working, on a weekend, they come and put in time with those 11. They give back to those 11.
That's great.
It's not just me, it's so much bigger than just me, but the proof is these guys can't wait to give back to the youth. They say, oh, how you still mentoring? You've been doing it so long. Once I mentor a young man, I teach him how to mentor younger men.
There you go.
Well, I think the volunteering component is very important, but also you cannot run a program without funding. And it's so important for your organization to have funding. So how can people donate? Because I'm going to say that I want to make sure that we reach a goal, because you really need funds for these people, because I know the work that you do and I see it.
Yes,
so how can people donate to your organization?
Anyone can donate directly through the website, My Brother's Second Chance, www.mybrotherssecondchance.com. Hit the donate button. We love anything you can do for us.
All right. So that's up on screen, mybrotherssecondchance.com. Please, as Keith said, check that out and give. Give of yourself, give your time and your money. Keep the program going. And again, another shout out to groundgameinnovation.com. That's up on screen, groundgameinnovation.com. We thank that great organization for supporting this very special program and making it possible to talk about empowerment and engagement. And we hope you all get involved in these fine organizations we've talked about. For Keith Granberry, myself, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.